That's our new theme song.
Yeah.
This is Witches, Magic, Murder, Mystery.
At gmail.com.
Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery.
The podcast.
I'm Megan.
I'm Kara.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. We're killing it with the small talk this time.
We really are.
It's because we just recorded the other, we're recording 2 episodes in a row today, so we're like,
what's funny?
Blew all our small talk.
What's funny to talk about?
In the first one.
We're funny.
I got nothing.
But yeah, we had to go poll some people on our last episode.
Stein or Steen. Baron
Steen.
It's Baron Steen, you guys. It's a real problem. The other thing about it is, if you Google it, you're going to find a lot of people who spell it Steen or Stein, which is the whole point. Like, that's the whole point of the Mandela effect, is a whole lot of people have it wrong.
Yeah, just go look at the front of the book, though.
Right. Stain.
Jesus.
Doesn't make any sense.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Okay, I feel like I did the medical personnel last time.
Yes.
But
who starved her patients to death.
Yes. And I have another medical personnel. Again, Kentucky themed this time. But my brother's, as he likes to refer to her as baby mama drama.
Baby mama drama.
Texted me the other day and she was like, have you done this yet? Because I always have found this person extremely interesting. And I was like, no, actually I haven't.
Yeah.
I will do it now.
Nice.
So I did some research and here we are.
Great. I'm here for it.
We're here.
I love it when people give us ideas of things to do. So if you have any ideas, you can email them.
It doesn't have to be murder.
No.
It can be witchy. It can be folklore. It can be
I would actually love some
theory.
witchy ones.
I
do have there's a Kentucky witch one that I'm working on. Like I have it kind of on the side working on. The problem is that there's just like one source.
Yeah, it's so hard to piece things together.
And I hate to tell just a one source story. Right. But it's so interesting that I may end up doing it anyway.
Maybe we should just do... Oh.
What was that noise? Did the trash move?
Yeah.
What?
What's happening?
What's in there?
If you are in here...
We're talking about witches and the trash moves.
If you are here to be a part of this podcast...
You've shown up at just the right time.
Yes, welcome. But it's my turn, so you gotta stay quiet.
Settle down. You'll go next.
You can have the next one.
I don't want to put my back to it now, but I have to look at you while you talk.
I'm just going to stare at it and you all are going to get false information because I'm not going to be reading my papers because I'm going to watch what's happening with Miss Witch Bitch over here.
What if I was watching you and you're staring at it and you get this like slow look of terror on your face?
I'm going to start to do that.
I'll just leave.
Just to make you,
I'm out.
Just to make you cringe.
Oh.
Okay. Why did that happen?
I don't know. Because it's not like Kara's... Look, it's not disgusting here. There can't be any living creature living in her trash can.
No.
Okay.
And it's not like trash. It's like boxes from items that I just got.
Yeah, there's no like food
like for
or
the coffee shop, like retail stuff.
Coffee shop, Coffee at Oak and Main, Nicholasville, Kentucky.
Go drink coffee.
Go get you some.
Get it.
All right, let's go.
Well, okay, yep. So I am doing this on Donald Harvey. He referred to himself as the Angel of Death.
He referred to himself as that. Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So he was born in 1952 in Butler County. Pause. It's a city named County in Ohio.
What?
Yeah, I had to ask. I was like, is Butler County a county? Like, what city is it in? And Google said, Butler County is a city. It used to be a county, but it was left the name and became a city.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
How confusing.
Yeah.
Could that possibly be?
So, Butler County City.
Got it.
In Ohio. Shortly afterwards, he and his family moved to Boonesville, Kentucky, a little tiny town in the Appalachian of Kentucky. Appalachia. I'm going to throw in Appalachia. That's how I remember that. So he and his family were poor, and they lived in the mountains. He was loved by his teachers. Like, they had great things to say about him. Like, he was a good kid. He was well read. Like, just super intelligent. A's and B's.
So none of this like loner.
Yeah.
Scary.
But like with the adults, he was fine. Like, he would hang out with his teachers all the time. He always had like questions for them and would like constantly talk to them. But his peers remember him as being standoffish. He never wanted to play with them.
Weird.
Like, never wanted to have anything to do with them, really.
That's sort of fascinating.
Yes. So in an interview in 1987 with a Cincinnati reporter, his mom said her son was brought up in a loving family, and he's always been a very good boy.
Oh.
Yeah. The principal...
Was he a grown man at that point? Yeah, because he was born in the 50s and this was the 80s.
Yeah.
I think it's a problem anytime a mother is like, my 30-year-old, he's always been a good boy.
He was such a good boy, even though he's killed 87 people.
Good Lord.
So the principal of the elementary school that he attended for 8 years, I guess elementary and middle went into the same school at the time.
Mm-hmm. I grew up in a town like that, small town.
Yeah. She said, Donnie was a very special child to me. He was always clean and well dressed and his hair trimmed. He was a happy child, very sociable and well liked.
That's so interesting. Like, so he clearly had social skills that were fine with adults. He just couldn't connect with kids his own age. Right. That's like, what is that?
And they didn't say anything about him being bullied, but it wasn't known at the time that he was a child, but he was sexually abused by his uncle and an older male neighbor. But thinking about it, like, I would think that would make him not able to connect to adults. But
unless it is like, if he's a people pleaser,
this is true,
and it becomes a weird warped thing of like, this is how I get acceptance from adults, or you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true too.
I don't know. I can't begin to understand.
No,
I'm not going to pretend to. Okay,
no.
Sorry.
No. So he was super smart, but he got really bored with school, so he dropped out at the age of 16, and he received a diploma from a correspondence school out of Chicago, and he also earned his GED the next year.
Cool.
So in 1970, he was unemployed and living in Cincinnati. He decided to go to the Marymount Hospital in London, Kentucky to help care for his really sick grandfather. So he became a familiar face at the hospital. Like, everybody got to know him because he was constantly there with his grandfather.
So he was just there visiting?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to, like, I guess, help take care of him. I don't know, to be with him. And so the hospital was like, you know what? Like, we are going to offer you a job as an orderly. Like, you're here all the time. You know the procedures. Just come on board. So he accepted, immediately was placed into a position where he spent time alone with patients. His duties included dispensing medications to patients, inserting catheters, and taking care of other personal and medical needs. Also, he's not a nurse. He didn't go to school for nursing. Why are you letting him put catheters
in people? The 70s? Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to figure out, like, so it seems like you'd have to be a CNA, like a certified nursing assistant, but maybe not in the 70s.
Yeah, it was
maybe
early
the rules
70s.
were different then. I was a CNA.
Terrifying.
Did you ever know that?
No.
Listen, I had every job. In case you're like, Megan, you've talked about being a teacher.
Yeah.
You've talked about working at a bank. And I'm like, yes. In high school, I did partial days at the vocational school and got my CNA certification. And so I was a CNA for like my junior year.
Yeah.
And it's hard
my
work.
My youngest sister is a CNA. She, for the longest time, worked in an ER, but now she works for a pediatrician and loves it.
It's so hard.
But I would get texts from her and she'd be like, I had my fingers in somebody's brain today. And I'm like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, but so, I don't know. Maybe the rules were different then.
Yeah. Okay, so to most in the medical field, a feeling that they are helping the sick is a reward of their job. Mm-hmm. I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But he saw it as having the ultimate control and power over a person's life. So
that's a different way of looking at it.
He claimed that he became overnight a judge and the executioner.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he's power hungry.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Does he have any siblings? Do you ever talk about any siblings or anything?
I don't know.
He's an only child, I guess is what
I don't know. I didn't look into that.
I feel like his mom would have mentioned it.
I feel like it would have. But so on May 30th, 1970, 2 weeks into his employment, a stroke victim angered Harvey by rubbing feces in his face. In return, Harvey smothered Evans with plastic and a pillow. No one at the hospital became suspicious because, I mean, He was a stroke victim. He was struggling, and then he died.
To be fair, it would be fairly enraging for someone to rub feces in your face.
Yeah.
But if you're...
Are you going to smother him?
No. I mean, probably not. No, but seriously.
In the heat of the moment.
But if you're, you're working, like you're entrusted to take care of them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like you have to be predisposed to murder, I guess, for that to be your reaction. Yeah. I would be horrified and run away.
Yeah.
And like
I would have vomited.
Yeah, definitely get sick. I'd say a lot of bad words.
I feel like
to anybody that would listen.
He probably was rough with the patients too, I'm sure.
Like there doesn't seem to be any warmth or compassion type thing if your response is...
If you're the judge in execution.
If you're able to smother a person too, like think of how close that is as far as a method of death. You have to, and they're struggling against you, and you stick with it until they stop moving.
Oh,
like that's a really intimate way to murder somebody.
Yeah. So the investigator said that this was kind of like unleashing his inner monster, this incident. Mm-hmm. It just kind of triggered him. So he was quoted, it said, "The next thing I knew, I smothered him. It was like the last straw. I just lost it. I went in to help the man and he wants to rub that in my face." It was the last straw for him. But it was also the first, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah. Like what else had happened to get you to that point, I guess, for that to be your last straw?
Uh-huh.
But again, it could be the last straw as far as like, now I'm going to quit my job, or now I'm going to...
Yeah, I'm over this.
Yeah, but not that I'm going to start murdering people. Literal shit. I am over this specific shit on my face. And also metaphorically.
Yes.
Yeah, but like, why wouldn't you just quit your job?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, and I shall murder all the people.
I will take the lives of at least 15 others in the next 10 months because that's what happens. So the true extent of his crimes we may never know, but because there was so many undetected. Like the hospitals would just be like, "Oh, people are dying."
I mean, that's why this happens, right?
Yeah.
It's because it's a way to murder people, and you can easily not get caught. Exactly. You can explain it away, especially back then.
Mm-hmm. It says he's notable for having used numerous methods to kill, like arsenic, cyanide, insulin, suffocation, miscellaneous poisons, morphine, turning off ventilators, administration of infected fluids with like hepatitis B or HIV, but those only resulted in infection of hepatitis. The HIV, it didn't cause it for people. It just made them very sick. It didn't cause any death with that.
Yeah.
Insertion of a coat hanger instead of a catheter.
No. Yep. And that killed them?
Uh-huh. Causing abdominal puncture and
Wait.
peritonitis.
Wait.
Because it like punctured their insides.
But like that's a easily detectable, like you
have a hanger in your
urethra.
Yeah.
So that's a confusing one for me. Mm-hmm. The rest of them it seems like are undetectable.
He's just like, let me go get this coat hanger.
I got confused. I just confused.
Yeah. I was taking my coat down and hung it up on the lead line.
Oh, I'm horrified by that.
Yeah.
That's just the pain.
But his favorite methods are cyanide and arsenic.
Oh, God.
He would put them in lots of food or like inject them in their IVs. Yeah. But it says he spent a lot of his personal time away from work and he was super depressed. He constantly
He was super depressed.
And constantly contemplated suicide.
Bless his heart.
And he had two partners. James Peluso. They were lovers for 15 years.
Oh, partners. I thought you meant like partners in crime.
Oh, no.
Like sexual partners.
Lovers.
Lava. Peluso.
But Harvey later killed Peluso when he became too ill to care for himself.
Oh.
So Peluso got sick and Harvey was like, "See you, bye. I'm going to put arsenic in your pudding."
I wonder, and none of these are like mercy killings. They're all just...
Yeah. So his next one he was allegedly involved with this one. Vernon Midden. He was a married man with children and worked as an undertaker or like an embalmer. So in their conversations, Midden would talk to him about how the body reacts to different trauma, and Harvey loved this. So he was like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to figure out like other ways to kill people." So when their relationship began to fall apart, Harvey started thinking about how to embalm Midden while he was still alive. So
what?
They found all of this information out when they found his diary, and he had like written stuff about this in there.
Yeah. Oh my God, he wrote it down.
Yeah.
Look, crimeology 101. Don't write down.
Yeah.
Not that I'm telling you how to be good at crime.
Midden also introduced him to the occult. In June 1977, he looked into it a little further and decided to join. This is where he met his spiritual guide, Duncan, who was a one-time doctor. Harvey says that Duncan was there to help him decide who would be his next victim.
Wow.
Yeah.
Witchy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Garbage.
Garbage? Do you have anything to say?
Do you want to tell us anything about how you feel about that? Do you know this situation?
Just do nothing if you think he's horrible.
Sit still if you think this is awful.
Got it.
On March 31st, which is my birthday, but several years earlier, in 1971, he set the bathroom of an empty apartment in his building on fire and was unsuccessful in attempting suicide. He was arrested and only had to pay a $50 fine. He tried to also kill himself later that year with NyQuil and was again arrested on suspicion of burglary in his own apartment building. He was so drunk when he was arrested that he bragged to the police about how he had killed 15 people at that hospital.
Oh.
But the police didn't believe him. They were like, you're a drunk idiot.
Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, never investigated. You would think, I don't know, I'm sure they're extremely busy, but you would think that a cop would be like, I'm at least gonna look into this.
Think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just call the hospital and ask some questions.
Yeah. Has anybody died on his watch? Oh, 15 people?
Yeah.
What a coincidence. So listen to this. After he was arrested, he was like, you know what? I'm miserable here. I'm going to join the Air Force. And he was accepted.
How?
Yeah. But he wasn't in the Air Force for long because he failed to commit suicide twice while on the base. So he was sent home with
multiple suicide attempts.
So he was
was he did he feel guilty? Is that why he
I don't know.
Wow. In his diary, I guess he never...
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was given an honorable discharge. So after returning home, he tried to kill himself again because he was miserable. He checked himself into the VA hospital for treatment, and while he was there, he received 21 electric shock treatments, but was released 90 days after. So then he got another job at Cardinal Hill in Lexington. Mm-hmm. It's not known how many patients he killed during the 2.5 years he was there, but the opportunity to kill them was lessened because he was clerical work. He wasn't in the medical portion of it.
Thank God.
Yeah. He also later told police that he was able to control his urge to kill people during this employment.
So I guess because he wasn't in the
working
position.
with I don't know, seeing them laying there,
maybe there was an impulse
vulnerable
control issue, right? If he saw them, but so if he wasn't around them, he didn't have to.
Yeah,
and there would have been no way to explain
right
why he was in somebody's room.
Yeah,
if he's not supposed to be.
Yeah, he didn't want to be caught. So in September of 1975, he moved back to Cincinnati and landed a night position in the VA hospital. You would think that I don't know, maybe it's a HIPAA thing. Back then, they probably didn't have HIPAA then. You would think that they would be able to look at his VA records.
And see if
Isn't
there's
it
problems.
Universal?
I bet they couldn't look at his records. You can't consider their medical records for employment. Probably.
I don't know. So it's believed that while he was employed there, he killed at least another 15 patients. There, he decided to use cyanide and rat poisoning and arsenic to all of his victims' foods. He once joked to one of the ward's nurses after a patient's death that I got rid of this one for you.
God.
Yeah, they thought nothing of it. And it says that not a lot of his victims were suffering either. So it's how this person was going to be healthy.
So they weren't dying.
No, not all of them, no.
Which shows, again, this isn't like a mercy killing.
Yes. So throughout all these years, he was in and out of several relationships, and he didn't hurt all of his lovers, but in 1980, his ex-lover, Doug Hill, who he tried to kill by putting arsenic in his food, died. His second victim was...
Did he kill him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Carl Howler was his second victim in August of 1980. Howler. It's Hoeweler. Howler.
Don't know. I'm sure you're
Bernstein.
right, though. Bernstein.
So they began living together, but they started having issues when Howler was cheating on him, having sex with other people. And
I wonder, too, if there's any of this, like, the depression and the suicide attempts is, like, a self-hatred because he was gay in a time when, like...
And molested as a child.
Yeah. Like, there's so much there that he... You know what I mean?
Yep.
Stuff that's, like...
Yeah.
Just a whole different time.
Yeah.
Because he was gay in a time when it was not accepted at all. I mean, people still get crap about it now, but not then.
Yeah. Okay. So he began poisoning his food with arsenic to control his wandering eyes. He slowed him down. He was just like, you can't go anywhere. You can't cheat on me if you're poisoned.
Oh, my God. Oh, are you sick tonight, honey?
Honey,
guess you got to stay home.
Got to stay home and entertain me. Oh, my God. So his next victim, while he was poisoning Carl, was Carl's friend who Harvey thought that was trying to, like, interfere with their relationship. He infected her with hepatitis B, so, like, those infected bags of fluids from the hospital. Infected her with that. Also tried to...
bring him home?
Yes. So those were, like, easily accessible. I don't know. And then he also tried to give her the AIDS virus, but it failed.
This is my closet of fluids.
Yeah. So I don't know. He was using those tainted bags. So a neighbor, Helen Metzger, I don't know, that's not how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm going with, was his next victim after Carl's female friend. He was feeling that she was a threat to their relationship again. He laced food in a jar of mayonnaise with more arsenic and gave it to her in a pie as well.
A jar of mayonnaise?
Uh-huh. And then in a pie. Like, hey, can I borrow a cup of mayonnaise? No, here, have this jar. Let me make sure it's the right label. Arsenic? Yep, here you go.
Oh, no.
And then that didn't work, so he gave her arsenic in a pie. In 1983, in April, he had an argument with Carl's parents. He started poisoning their food with arsenic.
Where's he getting all his arsenic?
Exactly.
Where do you get arsenic? Is it an easy thing to come by?
Is it right? I don't know. 4 days after this initial poisoning, Carl's father, Henry, was dead after suffering a stroke. On the night that he died, Harvey visited him at the hospital and gave him arsenic-tainted pudding.
So the guy's like, oh, you came to visit me.
Yeah, but listen, after all of these attempts to kill Carl, he didn't die. He did not die.
Makes me think of Walking Dead every time you say Carl.
Carl!
Damn it, Carl!
Carl! So in January of 84, Carl finally asked him to move out. He's like, you're acting a little crazy. And things keep happening when you're around.
Yeah.
So I need you...
Carl's finally catching on?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I need you to move out. But Harvey, feeling rejected, tried several times to poison Carl. And failed again.
Well, you've been slowly building up his arsenic tolerance. Probably with all of his, like...
Yeah.
We're supposed to keep you from going out tonight.
Listen. Carl stayed in a relationship with him for the next 2 years. 2. You're just a good lay.
I was going to say, was he like great in bed? Like,
so even though you're poisoning my pudding and my mayonnaise and my pies, I'm going to keep you around because you're a good time.
And your your closet of fluids.
Closet of HIV, hepatitis B infected fluids.
I'm horrified that is
your bloodborne pathogen. Yeah. So 1984 and 85, Harvey was responsible for the deaths of at least 4 more people outside of the hospital. Like all those people associated with Carl. He's wild. Yeah.
Wild.
Yep. So, but during all this time, none of this ever hurt his job performance. In 85, he was promoted to morgue supervisor. But in July, he was out of work again because he was caught leaving work with a suspicious satchel
full of bodily fluids.
Yes, that's so weird. Security guards found a .38 caliber pistol, hypodermic needles, surgical scissors and gloves, cocaine spoon, 2 books of the occult lore, and a biography of serial killer Charles Sobrog.
The thing is there's so much that I'm like, oh, really? That sounds cool. And then it's like, oh. This is crazy.
So he was cited by federal officers for bringing a weapon into the VA because the feds get involved when it's the VA. Donald was only fined $50 and forced to resign. They didn't look into it.
It's so crazy how, I mean, especially if there had been any sort of communication about how he had confessed to killing 15 people before. But I guess there's no way to connect those dots.
No. Because they were just like, this is some crazy man talking. They weren't interrogating him for anything. I mean, after he left, he was forced to resign, but they left a clean record. He was able to get another job in February of 86 as a nurse's aide at the Cincinnati Drake Memorial Hospital.
Wow.
Yep. He was so excited to be out of the morgue and back with the living whom he could, in his quotes, play God with. And he wasted little time. So from April 1986 to March 1987, when I was born, he killed 26 patients.
Dang.
Yeah. John Powell is his last known victim. He was hospitalized from a motorcycle accident early March 1987 and died. Or which doesn't like John Powell.
That was the trash can again, you guys. I'm scared.
What is she doing over there? She doing over there?
Okay, sorry. Motorcycle accident.
In a motorcycle accident. He died in the hospital bed. So when the doctor performed a routine autopsy on Powell's stomach, he caught a whiff of something strange. It smelled like almonds. It was cyanide. It became clear that Powell didn't die from his motorcycle accident, and it was poisoning. So 3 separate tests later confirmed that Powell had died of cyanide poisoning. Cincinnati police jumped in to investigate and started interviewing his family, his friends, and all the hospital staff. But the day that Harvey was supposed to be interviewed, he called in sick. And they were just like, oh, he can't come in today. He's sick.
That seems like it shouldn't be allowed.
A little suspicious. little sus.
Nobody caught on to that?
Yeah. So then the cops were like, okay, we've interviewed everybody, but we're missing one. And so the lead detective was just like, okay, we've got to talk to him because all of his coworkers knew him as the angel of death. And they were like, yeah, people always die on his shifts. Like, what? That's what we call him all the time. And they're like, huh.
Nobody thought that might be unusual?
Yeah. Yeah. So after they got a warrant, they searched his apartment and there turned up enough incriminating evidence to arrest him for aggravated first-degree murder of at least John Powell.
We found your closet of hepatitis.
The hep. All the...
I mean, I'm just like... I'm not saying that the diseases themselves are
like,
gross.
Did he have
I'm saying the idea that he has
like organized.
Right. It's the bodily fluid. And whose
HIV.
are they? Where'd they come from? Like, it's really terrifying to me to think, like, he just had this collection of diseased fluid.
Well, he was an embalmer, so maybe he was catching those fluids from people he knew had those diseases.
That's so disturbing to think about.
Oh, God. I don't... Yep.
Thank you for putting that in my head.
Yeah, you're welcome. But listen, he pled not guilty by reason of insanity and was held on a $200,000 bond.
I don't think we can say insanity because he did it for so long and got away with it. You know what I mean? Yeah, so there has to clearly be...
he was the angel of death.
Oh my God.
Yeah. With the investigators having his diary, he knew it wouldn't take long before the full depths of his crimes were exposed. Hospital employees who had always suspected Harvey of killing patients began to talk to news reporters, to the investigators of the murders. So it got big.
Yeah.
Like, people were just like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, that's a heck of a story.
We kind of thought
we missed this many times. Yeah.
We thought something was going on.
But to be fair, you would never assume, oh, he must be killing people. Like, it would take a lot to get there, I think.
So he started freaking out knowing that all these people were talking, and he wanted to avoid the death penalty, so he tried to make a plea arrangement. He agreed to full confessions in exchange for a life sentence. So in total, he was convicted of 37 murders, but some estimated him closer to 87.
Wow.
In an interview with CBS, he said he liked the control that comes with playing God, in that you can decide who will live and who will die. As to how he got away with it for so many years, he said that the doctors were overworked and often did not see the patients, and they were just pronounced dead. He was able to pronounce them dead.
He was able to pronounce them
Yeah. So,
as an orderly?
Yeah. So
and I bet as the morgue director, too.
Uh-huh. Oh. So they said that he really was showing no remorse whatsoever for his actions. It says, these are his quotes, well, controlled power's about the same thing, isn't it? The way I look at it, you controlling something, you got the power to do it. Huh? You controlling something. You got the power to do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So March 30th, 2017, he died at the age of 64 in prison, but he didn't die of age. One of the inmates that was in his cell with him killed him.
How? Did he use a hanger as a catheter?
I hope he did.
I hope so too.
I hope he did. He beat him, and some of the things that I researched, it said that the reason this other inmate did this is because he grew up with some of the family members of Harvey's victims. Wow. He had pled guilty to 24 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of attempted murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. He was fined $270,000.
Wow. I mean, I guess he just has a easy access to the victims.
Yeah.
As well as like an easy access to like lots of different ways to kill those victims.
Yeah. In an interview that I found in 1991, the reporter said, "Why did you kill?" And he said, "Well, people controlled me for 18 years, and then I controlled my own destiny. I controlled other people's lives, whether they lived or died. I had that power to control." And the guy says, "What right did you have to decide that?" And he said, "After I didn't get caught for 15 years, I thought it was my right. I appointed myself judge."
After 15 years, I decided it was my right.
I appointed myself judge, prosecutor, and jury. So I played God.
What about the first 15 years? What's your...
Yeah. So his parole hearing would have been set for 2047, and he would have been 95 years old. But his own took care of him.
It's so scary to think about how vulnerable people are in the hospital.
Yes.
And how you just assume goodness in people.
And you just assume that people are taking, especially now where there can only be one visitor. Yeah. You just assume that your people are being taken care of. And not stabbed with a clothes hanger.
Oh, I can't. It just made me like clench up.
Giggles.
All right. Well, thanks. That was
You're so welcome.
That was a really good story.
Welcome. I'll try not to do another medical one next week.
You can do whatever you like.
Thanks.
Because it's our podcast. It's our podcast. Guess what?
We get to make the rules. And y'all just listen to us.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. Yeah. As always, find us on Instagram at
Witches Magic Murder Mystery.
And if you have any ideas for stories,
email them to us.
witchesmagicmurdermystery@gmail.com.
Yep. We're all about some new material.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.